is going on, Geek Corner? This is your boy, Erskmac, the mad scientist, and welcome back to the Orange Phoenix Media channel, one of the hottest black up-and-coming comic book YouTube channels on this side of the Dakota-verse, man. And another edition of Saturday Morning Comics, man. I hope you guys had an awesome weekend. Hope you guys had an awesome, I say weekend. I hope you guys have an awesome week, as this is the start of the weekend. And if you are a newcomer, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, especially if you like our content. And if you are returning or a new viewer, do not forget to hit that like button, that share button. Share the link with like-minded individuals like yourself, man. But today, our show is jam-packed with some content, man. We got some comic book news. We got our indie comic of the week, and we're definitely gonna cover the main event of this show, and that is Batman Static Beyond, because I actually finished that limited series of Batman Static Beyond, and I have a few things to say when it comes to that book. So, but I did go to the comic book store today. I did go to the comic book. I said today. I did go to the comic book store this week, and I was able to get me a book or two or three. And on top of all that, I was able to get me, the free books that tells you what solicits is coming out, like what date, what month rather they're coming out, and that way you can put things on your pull list. So I'm going to be talking about that. I'm going to talk about the indie comic of the week, and it's not within arm's reach. So if you see me get off camera or get off screen for just a second to grab the book, matter of fact, I'm gonna do that right now. There we go. But yeah, so I was trying to get stuff together, last minute and all that. But I mean, yes, I did read Batman Static Beyond throughout this week, and there's some things I feel like that wasn't needed, and there's some things I felt like just could have just stayed. You know what I mean? But definitely got some things to say about that particular book. The book overall was good. And but I'm gonna jump into that later. But I gotta tell y'all, man, I did get a comic book haul. I did get a little bit of a haul. It wasn't like free comic book day or anything like that, but I will tell you that I did grab me a couple books. Now, the first book I did get this week, and it came out last week actually, is Astonishing Miles Morales Spider-Man: The Art of Thwip. I did get that book right here. Have not cracked this book open yet, but I will be reading it pretty much the minute I get off this show. So there's a lot of books. That's my routine. It typically is when I finish with the show, I just go downstairs and I actually kind of like read my books and catch up with everything. Next book I got was Spawn, issue number 375. You're right, 375. And I'm gonna tell you, the only reason I got this book was because of the cover. That's it. I'm not even interested in the story or anything of that nature. I'm just not. One thing I will tell you about Spawn is they do not miss when it comes to art. They don't miss when it comes to art. So when I saw this cover was coming out, I'm like, man, this is a real dope cover. So I actually grabbed this, and there you have it. So matter of fact, I'm gonna talk about Spawn just a little bit. Next thing I got was Thundercats Silverhawks issue number 2. I did get that, so definitely gonna be cracking that open. Remember what I told y'all maybe like a week or so ago, that I was going to catch up on Thundercats and I was going to catch up on Silverhawks, because now is a time to actually catch up on those respective series, because they are on hold because of the Thundercats Silverhawks crossover event along with Moonra. Because if you have not seen Moonra or Red Moonra, you want to check out my coverage on that after this show. Next thing I got was my boy Sanford Green, his cover art for The Fury of Firestorm. Yeah, issue number 2 right there. So I did get my hands on that. Look, when I see Sanford Green art, I'm gonna pick it up. That it is what it is. So back to my Spawn situation. So I do have downstairs, like Spawn 1 and Spawn 2, like when Spawn was first introduced to the comic book space. And one thing you can never take away from Todd McFarlane is his level of artwork, like how he's able to portray art, how he was able to portray Spider-Man. Like if you look at Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man, like how Spider-Man looks all contorted, like in the air when he web swings and all the other stuff, that's Todd McFarlane. Like he did that. So I'm gonna give credit where credit is due when it comes to him. But I will say this. I will say we are at 375 issues of Spawn. Now it has spinoffs. It has Gunslinger Spawn. It has Medieval Spawn. They have Rat City. She Spawn just came out, which a lot of people love. A lot of people love She Spawn. I read She Spawn like 2 days ago. Shout out to Gail Simone. She's cooking with that. King Spawn. So yes, there is a Spawn universe. Also, there's a Sam and Twitch. Now, I really do like Sam and Twitch though. Sam and Twitch is really good if you like, following them as police officers, because Sam and Twitch, they solve cases together or separate. That's just how it is. And Twitch don't care, bro. Twitch don't care. He don't care what's in front of him. He don't care if it's a demon. He don't care. He gonna put the gun out on you. He gonna put the blicky on you, and that's what it's gonna be. And he's gonna solve the case if it's the last thing he do. That's just what's gonna happen there. But Sam and Twitch is really good as well. But back to Todd McFarlane. There is a general consensus, because yes, there is Spawn fans from day one, and I am a Spawn fan. I'm not, don't get it twisted. I am a Spawn fan. But the thing is, these days, especially, I say the past couple of years, I feel like anybody else that writes Spawn, the story is better than when the creator himself writes a story about Spawn. You know what I mean? Like, in the back of my mind, I always say, you know what, man, Spawn might need a reboot and have somebody else write it. Like, Todd can still draw it and do the art, but maybe a reboot won't be so bad. But you hang your hat on it being one of the longest running series, like one of the top long running series in comic books as far as indie is concerned. I think it's #1 if I'm mistaken as far as indie. But it still goes on and on and on and on and on. But I don't know, man. Like, I tried picking up Spawn and Scorched. Scorched is another one. I tried picking up Spawn and like rereading it and like checking it out, and I was like, man, I don't think I can hang on to this. I don't think, it's not sticking for me. It's not sticking for me. And I feel like Todd needs to take a back seat or focus on the movie with Jamie Foxx, because Jamie Foxx is not getting any younger, but still focus on the movie. Let somebody else write Spawn, right? You know what I mean? You can still draw Spawn. You can still, that's your property still, but let somebody else like write the story of Spawn, because man, I don't know, man. I that's one of those comic books you don't have to put on your pull list. You really don't. You really don't have to put. Okay, so I can tell you the comic books you do not have to put on your pull list, because you are not going to be without this book. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, Spawn. Like, for Flash, like, for sure. Like, you don't really have to put it on your pull list. You really don't have to put it on your pull list, because it's always going to be on the shelf. Man, I ain't going to hold you. Like, when it came down to where this book at? When it came down to this book right here, especially with this artwork, this is not like a variant. This is cover A. This is cover A. This is not a variant here. But I knew full well this book wasn't going to be sold out. I knew it wasn't. I know. I wasn't even pressed. Matter of fact, when I went to my comic book store on Thursday, there were at least 5 or 6 issues sitting on the shelf, like right here. And people were talking about it. So it's what it is. It says world record breaking comics, 5 more pages, same price. So yeah, I just like the cover, because the covers are always badass. It's always that. And also, when you think about Spawn is super edgelord, right? It's real edgy from the beginning, from its inception. How things are being portrayed. And I feel like when it comes to Spawn, like, what else you can cross here, man? Can you can dial it back on the edginess a little bit. I mean, when stuff warrants it, yes. You know what I'm saying? But it feels like the edges overlaps the story. And I also like when Image Comics first came out, and you had Savage Dragon, you had Spawn, you had Wildcats. You could not argue the art, right? Because the best artists from Marvel at that time left Marvel, went to DC and said, we're not joining you either. We're going to create our own thing. And the art, even you can even hear it in the documentary. Like when you watch the Image Comics documentary, I think it's on Amazon Prime, if I'm not mistaken. When you look at that documentary, they'll say like sometimes the art outweighed the story. Like the story is kind of mid, but the artwork is just crazy. Like, you know, so, and I feel like Spawn in itself is teetering towards that. Like it, for me personally, it's not sticking with me. It's not sticking with me. So there I am with that. So, but yeah, so that's my haul. That's my haul for this week. It wasn't too much. I didn't do a whole lot of damage because there's other books that I'm really focused on. And I did do a video. This week, and the video I did this week was basically different. It was really different from the stuff I typically would do, and it was about the comic pirating site, Read Comics Online, it being shut down. And if you want to see that video, go ahead and check it out and how I feel about it. And you know, spoiler alert, I feel pretty good about it because I wasn't really banging with that. Didn't, you know, I wasn't even banging with that. But if you want to get educated on the comic pirating site, on why pirating exists, like just not just in the comic book space, but just in all other spaces, go ahead and check out that video for your boy. Now, just let you know the things I'm actually reading currently. The things I'm reading currently is Ben 10. I finished reading Ben 10 issue number 1. I am reading Thundercats issue number 8, so I got a lot to catch up with. And once I finish with Thundercats, I'm gonna go jump on Silverhawks, and then from that, I'm gonna jump on Thundercats, Silverhawks, and Thunderhawks, and all that other stuff. But I finished Captain Planet, yo. I finished Captain Planet, and I'm trying to debate whether I want to do a live show next Saturday about that, or do I want to do a video on Captain Planet? You know, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure. Now, I will tell you, next weekend, Memorial Day weekend, we will not have a Saturday Morning Comics live show, but you will have a premiere show at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Excuse me, at 10 a.m. Eastern time. You will have that. It just will be in the video section. All right. So we will not have a live show on Saturday Morning Comics next Saturday, but you will get a premiere on next Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So just be on the lookout for that. You know, my family coming through, you know what I'm saying, for the weekend. So we're going to go out and hang out because, you know, my frat brothers, they're throwing a crab crack. So, you know, I'm going to be out there with it. Getting my eat on, you know what I'm saying? You know, cannot wait. So ready to jump up in that. So now we're going to talk about our indie comic of the week. So we're going to talk about the indie comic of the week. And our indie comic of the week, I found this book in, matter of fact, I found it in Free Comic Book Day. I found it in Free Comic Book Day. And the funky thing about it is that this was the only book left. And I'm so happy that I got this book because people are like, man, I was looking for this book, and this book is some heat, and yeah, I'm down with it. So I want to say, just give me a second here. I'm looking for, because I did a screenshot of the actual story of this book, but I'm gonna show you anyway. So this is Defiant, the story of Robert Smalls. Okay, this is an actual person. Okay, this is an actual real life person. It's just a story about him in comic book form, and it's basically about actually this future soldier, and he escaped slavery, and how he was able to navigate through that. And I have issue number 1. And what I'm looking for is, it's something that I actually screenshot. It was like an excerpt from from the book itself, and I want to read that guy. I want to read that to you guys, but clearly is went missing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find it once again, and I'm going to screenshot that for you. Now, when I tell you this was like the last book, this was the book on the shelf. I'm like, why is this sitting there by itself? And it was on the top shelf. It was on the top shelf. The one thing about the comic book store I go to is that it's in alphabetical order. And I was like, man, why is it sitting by itself? Obviously, the black man on the front. So I just wanted to get that. And just give me 1 second. I'm see if I can find it, because I really thought that I had this in my store. I really thought that I had this in my store, in my Kindle store. I really thought so. But let's see. We're not gonna live in ignorance here. And that's one thing about, yeah, there we go. We found it. We found it. For some reason, Kindle, of all things, wasn't letting me be great. All right, so here is, and I'm gonna just open up that screen right here. All right, so share the screen for you. And so this is like the introduction. It says that every endeavor at Legion M is imbued with the significance and importance. However, Defiant, our project chronicling the awe-inspiring true story of Captain Robert Smalls, that transcends mere significance and embodies the most profound calling from its inception. Defiant has resonated with us on a deeply meaningful level, compelling us to bring this incredible narrative to life. As we stand at the precipice of this project's evolution, from a vividly illustrated graphic novel to its envisioned future as a television or film adaptation, our sense of purpose and commitment has never been stronger. Now, when the idea of Defiant first emerged, championed by the vibrant voices within our community, it was intriguing and terrifying at the same time. The story of Captain Robert Smalls, a man who, against the backdrop of the Civil War, executed the most daring escape from slavery, becoming a symbol of courage and resilience, demanded the highest levels of attention and commitment. The stakes were high. Initially cautious, we sought to manage expectations with care, fully aware of the complexities and responsibilities inherent in the retelling of such a pivotal moment in history. We knew it wouldn't be easy, as the path to justice and recognition is seldom smooth or straightforward. Now, that is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. So how the story starts out is Robert Smalls is with his grandson. Like, they out fishing together, and he starts telling his grandson the story of his life. And at one point or another, you know, obviously the things that, because the first beginning of the story was when his granddad was telling him, it was some terrible parts in the story. And the grandson was like, oh man, I don't think I can take this. And he was like, you know, we can just focus on fishing. And his grandson said something profound. He was like, listen, if you were strong enough to endure it, I should be strong enough to listen to your story. Because honestly, when you really think about that, because so many people in the world do not want to listen to our stories, like do not want to listen to our black stories. Or if we start telling them the story, it's going to be like, oh, here we go again kind of situation, right? You're not willing to listen. Like, you already tune it out, because we as society, we are tuned to having a short attention span, having an attention span of a squirrel. So also, like, it doesn't resonate with us and all this other stuff. So that is seldom smooth and straightforward. That's actually 100% accurate. It says, yet spurred by the passion and enthusiasm of our community, we committed wholeheartedly to Defiant. Our community desire to see this story told not only fueled our efforts, but also served as a constant reminder of the importance of the tales we choose to tell. Their trust, support, and backing have been instrumental in every step of our journey, illuminating each milestone along the path forward. Now, a few years in, our collective efforts have borne fruit in a manner more remarkable than we could have initially imagined. The release of the first volume of the Defiant graphic novel series marks a significant milestone, bringing Captain Robert Small's story to life in a format that is both widely available and artistically stunning. The vivid illustrations and poignant narrative capture the essence of Small's bravery and his indomitable spirit, serving as a testament to the power of storytelling in preserving and honoring our shared history. Now, as Defiant gains momentum, we are reminded of the responsibility we carried as a custodians of history and storytellers for our future generations, that this project is more than a recounting of past events. It is an ongoing dialogue about courage, resilience, and enduring fight for freedom and justice. Through Defiant, we aim to inspire, educate, and provoke thoughtful reflection on the values that define us as a society. To our community, collaborators, and every individual who has supported Defiant, your belief in power of storytelling and in importance of Captain Robert Small's story have been the driving force fueling our every move. As we continue to develop Defiant, we do so with profound sense of gratitude and renewed commitment to bring stories of substance and significance to the forefront. Now, Defiant is more than a project. It is a beacon of hope, a reminder of strength of the human spirit, and call to action for all of us to stand up for what we believe in. We are immensely proud of what we are achieving together, and we look forward to a journey ahead as we bring the full scope of Captain Robert Small's legacy to life. So basically, this book is really good, man. I mean, it felt like, because this book is also thick, and when you look at this as far as the single issue is concerned, this book is actually thick. And anytime I thought I was actually finished with the book and I thought it was an ending, I was like, no, that's not the ending. I can keep going. I can keep reading. That is cool. And also, this is from Stranger Comics. This is from Stranger Comics and Legion M. Now, if you are unfamiliar with Stranger Comics, I have to put you guys on game. Okay, I'm gonna have to put you guys on game. Just, we're not gonna live in ignorance here. And I'm gonna pull up some stuff for you, right? So, Stranger Comics, now they have raised so much money. And it's an independent comic. And this is and honestly, truly, this falls on this failed notion that Black books doesn't sell, because they made 6 figures in a Kickstarter. So to say Black books don't sell, you're smoking. You are smoking. So they have The Untamed, they have Niobe, they have Erathon, they have Dusu, they have Tales of Asunder. And this is all 7 trade paperbacks in mega discount form. And this is their website. So if you really want these books, man, go ahead and check out these books, because if I'm not mistaken, let's see. The Untamed have a film coming out, okay? So to say Black books don't sell, you full of shit. That is what it is. You full of shit, because there's no way. Because just say you don't want to sell it. Just say you don't want to be behind it. Just say that. You know what I'm saying? Don't be saying stuff that you don't really believe in yourself, because if Stranger Comics is able to raise 6 figures where they only asked for 5, they went way beyond their goal because of how much support they've gotten, to a point there is a film being made about their books. So what you mean? What you talking about out here? Like, it got an NAACP award, like Defiant. See, this is it right here. So the Defiant is right here. So there you go. Look at that. It says the Princess and Frog writer Rob Harris to write and direct animated adaptation of children's book Brown Sugar Fairies, Sub Roger's Quest, and Stranger Comics goes vertical. So you can actually get it on Global Comics. So you can read it on Global Comics. But hey, I highly encourage you guys to actually get the book. You know what I'm saying? I really want you guys to go get this book here, man. So the Untamed, it says that a stranger returns to one-horse town of Oasis, and he has 7 days to collect the 7 souls that murdered his family. Along his path, he meets his conscience in an orphan, Niobe, who turns this simple tale of vengeance into one of redemption and so much more. Such a simple premise, a spaghetti western in fantasy. the perfect comic and movie, and the perfect way to introduce a giant fantasy world. Surely it would immediately become a film, then sequels, spin-offs, and theme parks. The Untamed had other ideas. Stranger Comics is in year 17. After all ups and downs, option deals, development years at HBO, which was a huge honor and learning experience. Stranger Comics has partnered with the team it was always meant to be with, Juvie Productions, the production company headed by none other than Viola Davis and her husband and partner, Julius Tennant. We all have Niobe inside ourselves, and it's time to let her roar, says Viola Davis. So after Viola's majestic forward in Niobe, she is life hard cover. Niobe's own journey mirrored that of Stranger Comics, running into obstacles that at times have seemed too difficult to overcome, and certainly bumping into the occasional untamed demon along the way, and perhaps even running from our own destiny, or maybe that's me. As I write these words, I am going to direct the Untamed. I am going to protect Niobe, and Niobe's time has come full circle with Juvie. Not only do we have fellow Niobe guardians Viola and Julius, but we have our teammates at Homeworld, Simon Swart, Andrew Cosby, who has been a supporter of us since before there was Stranger Comics. Together, we are going to make some history. Again, reminder, Niobe is the first nationally distributed comic in history with Black female author Amanda Stenberg, artist Ashley A. Woods, and hero Niobe. A huge thank you to Daryl, Josh, Quincy, who worked tirelessly at Stranger Comics, now with Sammy, Justin, and my dearest son Xavier, and of course, incredible Peter Bergting, who painted our initial vision to life in the Untamed Sinner's Prayer. So we got film, y'all. We're gonna have film. Not only film, but with the studio from Viola Davis, the Viola Davis, How to Get Away with Murder, The Woman King. You know what I'm saying? She was on Hot Ones, showing up for our fellow South Carolinian Viola Davis. So when I tell you again, when people say black books don't sell, you full of shit, because this is an indie book. This is an indie company. This ain't even the big two. This ain't, or the big three. This ain't even Marvel, DC, or Image. This is a black-owned indie comic book company that asked for 5 figures for Kickstarter, that made 6 figures, and they even address it. It's like, so you say black books don't sell, then look at these numbers. Look at the fact there's going to be a film adaptation. You full of shit. You full of shit. So that goes around the lines of, you know, the hashtag DC So White campaign. When you talk about the hashtag DC So White campaign, and we talk about main continuity, because I know the book that I'm going to cover, Batman Static Beyond, that is DC Black Label. That is not in the main line continuity of books. This is what we're asking for, is context clues, people, context clues. Because some people like to bring up Absolute Green Lantern and stuff like that. And it's like, yo, what about that? That's not mainline continuity. At some point or another, Absolute Universe will end. So it just, at some point or another, that new car smell is going to fade just a little bit. But I will say, if you want to support Stranger Comics and you want to read some of their books, you definitely want to go to strangercomics.com. And you can order the books yourselves. And actually, there's some books that's on Global Comics as well, like the Untamed and stuff like that. So, you know, I would say, you know, read it, you know, see if you like it, because if you really want to support black books, you have the option to support black books. And there you have it. I done gave you the sauce. I gave you the sauce right here. I gave you, first of all, I gave you Defiant. I gave you Defiant as our indie comic of the week. Then I gave you the publishers with Legion M and Stranger Comics, and I gave you the website and where you can go visit, where you can go, you know, purchase these books, right? And I gave you some news that there's going to be a film with Viola Davis's production company and her husband. So come on now. I gave you the sauce. Gave you the sauce. There's zero excuse. There's zero excuse. Zero excuse. Now, we got to talk about a little bit of comic book news here. We got to talk about a little bit of comic book news before we jump into our main event, right? And there's some things that I really want to cover. There's some things that I really want to talk about. And the first thing I want to talk about is Absolute Green Arrow. And for some reason, okay, I know sometimes with this website, man. Sometimes with Bleeding Cool News, man, they always do something a little weird. So it says Bleeding Cool previously reported that Absolute Green Arrow #1 by Pornsak Pitchett Shot and Raphael Albuquerque out next week had more orders from comic book stores than any other Absolute title had with the first printing of their launch issue. Mayhap the 40 retailer exclusive covers may have helped, something the other launches didn't have. Okay, 40 retailer exclusive covers. Now I'm gonna tell you, okay, hold on. Before let me get back here for a second. I understand the concept of variant covers. You know what I mean? You can have 4, 5 even, maybe 6, stretching it. But you busting out having 40 retailer exclusive covers, man. Like, this is ridiculous, bro. This is ridiculous. I think Absolute Batman got I want to say about 40, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it's like a ridiculous number of variant covers. Like, that's just stupid. Like, why would you even do that? Why would you do that? That is a highly critical thing that I have when it comes to like variant covers. There's no need. There's no rhyme or reason for you to have that many variant covers coming out. And I know you trying to nickel and dime, especially in this economy. In this economy, it says 40 retailer exclusive covers may have helped. And also, that's indicative of the marketing that DC has. Why you can't do a black book like that? You know what I'm saying? Why you can't do a black book like that? But I'm just saying, this Green Arrow, it says something other launches didn't have, but it's still not enough, and DC Comics is sending the comic book for a second printing already. Mind you, first printing is not even out yet. First printing is not even out yet. That issue is not out yet. You catch what I'm saying? So already we got a second printing of Absolute Green Arrow. Already. On top. So this book is already sold to a certain point. Now, I didn't put my pre-order in for Absolute Green Lantern, but I will put it put it on my pull list. I will actually put it on my pull list. I will not go out my way to get 40 freaking variant covers. I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? There's a couple covers that I am interested in. A couple, meaning 2, that I'm interested in. But outside of that, no, I'm gonna read the book and keep it moving. But and 9 times out of 10, I probably will cover this book just to see what's going on, because I think we was given previews as far as how this Green Arrow is moving. Dina Lance, how she's moving. You know what I'm saying? In the Absolute universe. Still yet though, marketing. But either way, it says that it's going on sale. The second printing with 3 covers by Raphael Albuquerque with the recolored logo, Yvonne Tao and Tula Lotte foil will be out on the 17th of June, the same day as Absolute Green Lantern #2. So, I don't know why they do that. But so Absolute Green Arrow #1, second printing this year, and these are some of the variant covers right here. I do like this cover right here, actually. I really do dig this cover. So now, if you remember, Absolute Green Lantern, Absolute Green Arrow in the Absolute Evil book, this man got toe tagged. This man jersey got retired. You know what I'm saying? Like, we saw him in the beginning, and he looked, like regular Oliver Queen. He looked, Ollie was looking regular. But that's Ollie right there, though. That's Ollie right there, though. So I don't know who is Green Arrow, because it's definitely not that cat. It's definitely not that cat. This man was laid out on display because Hawkman showed up with Oliver's body, and Hawkman was the one that found him and put the beaters to him. So I don't know how this is gonna go. Maybe Oliver has a son, or maybe somebody feels some kind of way about Oliver dying, and they just took on the mantle of Green Arrow, and they just, handling business by any means necessary. Don't really know. Don't really know from that standpoint. But with Absolute Green Lantern, though, this man is hunting. This man is hunting. And it's like a horror story too, man. Like, okay, so like here's some of it right here. Check that out. Like, this man is showing up like a thief in the night, man. Like a thief in the night. and it's got a horror element to it. And I really do. I actually do like that. He's basically killing Jeffrey Epstein from beyond the grave, Green Arrow's grave. I mean, and these unlettered pages. So yeah, yeah. I might have to cop this book. I might have to cop this book and follow this. And then you have Dina. You have Dina Lance, and obviously she is a very good fighter, and she's real stocky. She's real stocky here. So yeah, this is good. This is good. So I mean, yeah, but and also it says 1 of 6. So this is a limited series. This is not an ongoing. This is not an ongoing. But I will tell you this though, just like Poison Ivy and how well that sold. But again, I tell you, Absolute Universe is not forever. It's not a forever thing. And I mean, one or two things are going to happen. Either we're going to have a definitive end to the Absolute Universe, or it's going to run out of gas to the point of we got to end this, and they low-key rush the ending. One of the two things is going to happen. Ultimate Universe is kind of like that too. Only like, because I don't know much of anybody that's reading the Ultimate Endgame right now. I really don't. Even though the Absolute Universe is definitely up there. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely in like the top 10 list. And speaking of top 10, we got some news out here when it comes to an indie comic. An indie comic is topping the Absolute Universe. Topping the Absolute Universe here. So we got last week, Bleeding Cool retcon that Ben 10 #1 will be the hottest comic book. Reckoned. We reckoned right. It was beating out Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman, Invincible, Dungeon Crawler Carl, and more. The Absolute Universe also made a comeback alongside the return of hot comic covers like Battle Damage Thrag, Dungeon Crawler Carl, and Lost Fantasy. The Punisher also returned to the list, featuring both an old and brand new cover. Radiant Black is also shaking up the aftermarket with the high demand for first issue ahead of number 42 reveal, and all courtesy of Cover Price. So Dungeon Crawler Carl right there. You got the Punisher right there, which the Punisher's I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. But Ben 10 is actually #1, man, overtaking Absolute Batman Arc M Special #1. And just to be clear, I'm gonna keep it a buck, keep it a whole stack with you. I am gonna cover Ben 10, but Ben 10 comic book is basically a retelling of like the cartoon series, right? And I was one of the ones that did not sit down and watch Ben 10 the cartoon series because it came out during the time when I was outside. You know what I'm saying? I was out hanging out, doing what I want to do. You know what I mean? So Ben 10 came at a time where I wasn't really watching, TV like that. You know what I'm saying? Or like reading comic books like that. So Ben 10, the comic book, is basically retelling that story, and also may unravel some things that the cartoon did not cover. You know what I'm saying? So it's bringing new people in. But also, there's some people that are upset. It's like, man, I thought this was going to be a continuation of Ben 10. Like, why are you starting all the way over again? But I think some people that was actually reading this book or waiting for this book to come out had it in their head already that this was going to be a continuation of the cartoon series, even though Joe Casey didn't say that. Like, he didn't say, yeah, this is going to be a continuation of the cartoon series. You set the expectation for yourself that this was going to be a continuation, but was disappointed that this is what this is. Now, this is indicative of wrestling fans too, because when it comes down to wrestling fans, they already have it fixed in their head who's going to win, especially with WWE, right? Because WWE has been around for decades and decades and decades, right? To the point where people watched it from childhood all the way up to this point, to the point that we understand the formula and it's real formulaic. So we know who's going to be the next man up. We know who's going to be in the main event of WrestleMania, who's most likely to win at Royal Rumble, because we watched this thing for so long. Same rule applies to Ben 10. Issue #1 is that there was an expectation, and that you made that expectation into a truth in your head. And then when that truth ended up being a lie, you was upset with the creators for starting over. Nah, They didn't say that. Maybe, listening helps. Listening helps. But be that as it may, Ben 10 is number one. Ben 10 is number one. And when I tell you that book was sold out, I am so glad that is on my pull list. The series is on my pull list. It came out, I want to say it came out earlier this week, right? Came out earlier this week. And maybe last week. And I picked up that book on Thursday. Mind you, on the pull list. It's on the pull list. That book was nowhere to be found. Okay? Nowhere to be found. Like, it was a wrap. And I'm pretty sure there is a second printing. I'm pretty sure there is a second printing. And it's an ongoing. So this probably will be one of the hottest selling books out there. I mean, obviously, Absolute Green Lantern is going to be up there too. Now, Absolute Wonder Woman, Invincible Returns, Radiant Black, Free Combat Day 2026, Dungeon Crawler Carl, which I've heard good things about Dungeon Crawler Carl. I really do want that book. I actually want to check that book out. The Punisher #3, and it says The Punisher is the next big anticipated media release coming out of MCU. The special presentation titled Punisher One Last Kill will be released this Tuesday. In fact, you might be reading this while title credits roll. It is a highly anticipated special presentation. In addition to this, fans are excited to see Frank Castle return in Spider-Man Brand New Day, and this variant cover is going to one day be a used nostalgia grab. As directed promotional poster from the series, retracted at high sale of $90 with a CGC of 9.8 copy and current raw 2025. Now, I will tell you when it comes down to the Punisher series, I did cover issue #1 and issue #2 of the Punisher. Issue #3 is out right now. That series is heat. I really do like that Punisher series. I really do like this Punisher series. And I think this is like perfect placement as well. Like One Last Kill. How can I say this? One Last Kill should have been longer. Okay. And also there's parts of that presentation you can easily tell that Disney fired their special effects team. When they had that big exodus of people, like involuntary exodus, yeah, you could definitely tell that's what this is. You know what I'm saying? They cutting the budget. They cutting, and I don't like it. I really don't like it. But it's one of those things. But the story itself, like One Last Kill, was good. It should have been longer. And also, we didn't see him in full costume until the end, like close to the end. I feel like it would have been 10 times better if he had that fit on when he was doing his business. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, by the time Frank made that decision that he's going to go back to doing what he used to do, that should have been a perfect part that was, all right, I'm going to wear the skull and I'm going to keep on moving. And I'm going to take these guys out. So missed opportunity. It was like 44-ish minutes. It was like 44 minutes. So it's, I like it. It just should have been longer. It should have been longer. Now, next thing I was going to talk about is I did grab this book right here. I did grab like the free previews book. And I got some things to say, man. I got some things to say. So we got the DNX event. And we're going to talk about that for a second. So just give me a second. And they got a prelude of DNX. And I'm going to hit that share screen real quick. Because, and I know y'all feel the exact same way. I know y'all feel the exact same way. Okay. So this is X-Men prelude to DNX. Right? Not to be confused with DMX. Now, it says that Hank McCoy, the bouncing blue beast, is haunted by a ghost. Not of his past, but of his future. And his present. The chairman of 3K, an older, immoral version of himself, represents one of the greatest threats of the X-Men have faced since the fall of Krakoa, and Beast must struggle with his own terrible potential. And also 3K works towards a viable build of the X virus brought back from the Age of Revelation. Until now, they have been frustrated. But when the chairman realizes that the missing piece of the puzzle lies within Magneto, 3K moves on X-Men's home base of Alaska. Hold up. Hold on. So you mean to tell me that DNX, this event that's featuring the Fantastic Four, is about the X virus?
It is, man. Fuck y'all, man. This is just straight up.
What we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? This is reheated goods. This is reheated food right here. You know, this is reheated food. So back up for a second. Age of Revelation. I should say Rage of Revelation. Age of Revelation did some egregious things. I mean, they grabbed some good books and put them on halt. Storm being number one. Uncanny X-Men for others. And they put those on hold to put them involved with the Age of Revelation. Oh, by the way, we grabbed Spider-Man from over here. And we grabbed, what else I read? There were some other books. The name escapes me. But still, you're going to do DNX. And the main crux of this story is the X virus. Why are we reheating food? Why are we doing this? Matter of fact, what this could have been with Age of Revelation, you could have kept it a stack with the adjectiveless X-Men with Jed McKay. You could have left everybody else alone. You could have left Storm alone, Uncanny X-Men alone, Spider-Man alone, the Avengers, X-Vengers, that's what it was. X-Vengers alone. You could have left all that alone. You could have left Binary, all that. Could have let go of all that. You know what I'm saying? You could have had adjectiveless X-Men in an event on their own. This would have tracked a little bit better. Just a little bit better. This would have tracked a little bit better. You would have left everybody else alone and just stayed on your own lane when it came to this. Cool. We were still dealing with time, right? We still dealing with 3K and them trying to perfect the X virus and what's going to happen with the X virus because Age of Revelation has, oh shit, the X virus. Ah, man. I'm going to skip the story. I'm going to skip it. I feel like other people is going to skip this story too. Like whenever this event happens, I maybe I'll read it to keep up with current events. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll go that route. But I don't know, man. That's not good. That's not good. I mean, you could have went somewhere else. I knew that's where it was going to go, right? When it was an X-Men book that I did cover, right? And you did have the Beast from 3K that's on there, right? And the title of that is like, yeah, here we go again, or something around those lines when it came in one of my videos. And I knew it was gonna go this route. I knew it was gonna go this route, right? And to be honest with you, the only reason I read adjectiveless X-Men is because of Cyclops and his team, right? Not even because of the story. I just want to see what they got going on, right? The story itself don't intrigue me. Now, Cyclops being matter of fact, that intrigues me, right? But man, I don't know, man. If I'm going to read like X-Men titles, I'm gonna definitely read Uncanny X-Men. I will read X-Men Outback. I definitely will start reading that because I'm very curious about that book. And there is another book that I'm actually excited about. There's actually another book that I'm actually excited about, but I'm gonna definitely tell y'all. But yeah, so, but this is a 5-issue story. This is a 5-issue mini DNX here. So it says the X-Men and 3K each steered by the original era of Xavier, each with their own vision of mutant people, each at one another's throats. Cyclops and the Chairman both experienced the future of the Age of Revelation and came home with a renewed mission. The X-Men to prevent that future. 3K to own it, while the X-Men seek out the Fantastic Four to help save one of their own. The White Beast begins his plan to unleash the X virus in a major population area, and the debut issue will be the latest Marvel comic available, the True Believer blind bags. Oh, by the way, we got blind bags, ladies and gentlemen. We got blind bags. Nothing wrong with the blind bags, man. Nothing wrong with them blind bags, but that's a no for me, dog. Yeah, that's a no for me, dog. That's a no for me, dog. But I will tell you. But I will tell you what I am excited about. I will tell you what I am excited about. And just give me one quick second. I'm gonna pull this up for you. And this is by the legend himself. The legend himself from X-Men lore. The man that reshaped X-Men as a whole, man. And this is Chris Claremont, man. Chris Claremont is back writing an X-Men book out here. And he returns to write Gambit Wanted, a 5-issue Marvel mini launching in July. So if you do not have Gambit Wanted on your pull list, you might want to have it on your pull list. You understand? So it says, to paraphrase the great LP Hartley, the past is a foreign country. They let Chris Claremont tell X-Men stories there. And so Chris Claremont is writing a character he co-created with Jim Lee, Gambit Wanted, a 5-issue retro limited series drawn by Robert Gill, which launches this July. Well, if Jim Lee gets to go back to Superman / Spider-Man this week, they might as well let Chris. And it says, Remy LeBeau, get ready, mes amis, as Gambit, the mutant thief hero, travels back to his hometown for an explosive showdown. Set in the time frame when Gambit returned Storm to what was left of the X-Men, discover how Gambit came to join the team for the first time and the deadly trial that made it so. Someone's got a mutants in their crosshairs down in New Orleans, and when they hire Bullseye to target Gambit, hang on to the most kinetic showdown of the month. So I'm gonna just holler at you right quick. Chris Claremont is a legend in this game. Okay, Chris Claremont is a legend in this game, man. When it comes down to X-Men, now let's keep it a whole stack. When X-Men first came out, like I want to say like in the 60s, and Stan Lee created the X-Men. That's when they had like the yellow and blue on and all the other stuff. Nobody wasn't checking for it. It wasn't selling. It wasn't selling. Okay, it wasn't selling at all, and it just wasn't hitting, right? So to a point where Chris Claremont took over, and later on, you know, Jim Lee with the artwork, but Chris Claremont saw something with the X-Men, and he reshaped how the X-Men were being viewed, man. I mean, especially with giant size X-Men, you know, God Loves Man Kills, stuff like that. Like, it had deeper stories and something you could sink your teeth into. Like, some of the greatest stories in X-Men lore came from Chris Claremont. So to have Chris Claremont come back and write an X-Men story is unprecedented. And I feel like Gambit in itself being one of the most loved X-Men characters in history, because he's one of my favorite characters, X-Men characters. He's in my top 5 for sure. But like when you talk about him coming back to write this, I feel like Gambit is going to sell like hotcakes. It's going to sell like hotcakes by every stretch of the metric. Every stretch of the metric. So I will be getting those variant covers. And of course he did like Wolverine and stuff like that. And then when you look at the comic books he's written, let's get to it. So we got Days of Future Past, and I'm on Marvel Unlimited right here. So Wolverine by Chris Claremont. We got X-Men by Chris Claremont. X-Men by Chris Claremont. Extreme X-Men. The Chris Claremont Anniversary Special. X-Men Revolution by Chris Claremont. Matter of fact, I want to say there's a documentary. On Chris Claremont and how he reshaped the X-Men. I want to say that is on Amazon Prime. But this man saved X-Men. You know what I'm saying? This man saved X-Men. It is what it is. Because the X-Men back in the day with the blue and yellow and all that was trash. Like, try to go back and read the first X-Men. Go back and read that. It's atrocious. It's not good. It's not good, man. It's not good. That's no diss towards Stan Lee. It just wasn't good. Chris Claremont did that. He did that, man. He put X-Men on the map. X-Men, I think X-Angeles X-Men is still the best-selling comic book in history, if I'm not mistaken, because it's so like hotcakes. Like, I have like the Jim Lee's run of like X-Men, like where he was drawing the characters or whatever, like in one of my short boxes over here. Like I do have that. So to see Gambit and Bullseye go at it one-on-one, and that right there is crazy. That is crazy. I cannot wait to actually read this book. I cannot wait till July to check this book out. Cannot wait, man. So there is another X-Men title that's out there right now. There is another book that's out, and I did have a chance to actually read that book. And the book I had a chance to read is Jubilee. Jubilee Daily Reunion. I thought it was going to be like a limited series, but I think it's just like a Marvel Voices book, because it's celebrating Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And I really do like Jubilee as a character, and I still want to have Jubilee as a playable character in either Marvel Rivals or Tokon. Like, need Jubilee or Nightcrawler. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta have it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have it. You gotta have it. So, obviously, you have Asian writers and stuff like that. Yang Ik and Nitro drawing that, and you see this young man comes out to be a cousin of Jubilee's, and Jubilee is called by a different name, because we know Jubilee as Jubilation Lee, but to his cousin, the cousin called her Gahie. And that when she was like, hey, hold up, everybody pause. Like, you know me, you know who I am, who are you really? You're like, yo, man, I'm your cousin and XYZ, blah, 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 blah. So I don't want to like tell you the story, because I'm really debating if I'm going to actually like cover this, but I can tell you what the story is about. I can tell you that is about identity and about a sense of belonging, because Jubilee is of Asian descent. I want to say she's Chinese American, if I'm not mistaken. So so you get to dive into her culture, right? And places that she never been, right? Or a sense of belonging. Also, speaking Cantonese, she's not fluent in Cantonese. So that's also is indicative on how she view herself in the culture and how she thinks that she doesn't belong at that point. Really, really good book. Because at the end of this book, it says end. So I don't think it's going to be any other stories outside of that. But I will say that Jubilee is a really good book. Especially when I read more about her as a character and what she's able to do and what she's capable. How capable is she? Because I still feel like there is untapped potential when it comes to Jubilee. I feel like she is on the Omega level type vibe. That's what I feel like. And one day I hope to see Jubilee on that Omega level tip. You know what I'm saying? Because of what she's able to do. Because she's not just a person that's just going to shoot fireworks. You know what I'm saying? She's not that. She could do other things. You know what I mean? So really do like that. Yo, what's going on, Dan's Comics Corner 25? What's happening, man? Welcome to Saturday Morning Comics. And but yeah, Jubilee is a very good book. I think you guys would definitely enjoy this book. It's out right now, so go ahead and get it. Again, it's part of the Marvel Voices for Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And if you're a Jubilee fan, they got some variant covers too. They actually have some variant covers, so you might want to go ahead and check that out, man. But yeah, so that is our comic book news. I told you, man, we had some comic book news for your ass. We had something for you, man. But we got a main event, ladies and gentlemen. We got a main event, and what y'all came here for. What y'all came here for is Batman Static Beyond. Okay, Batman Static Beyond. How do I feel about this book? And we definitely gonna jump into it. So first off, we got to acknowledge the creative team for this book. Evan Narcisse, Nicholas Draper Ivy, Will Quintana, Wes Abbott, Raza, Dustin Wynn, Marquise Draper, and Andrew Marino. All had a hand in this when it comes to story, art, and cover, the colors, the letters, and variant covers, and editor and senior editor. So I would definitely say this book is good. And will say this book was a little bit of a slow burn. For me, it was a little bit of a slow burn for me. But I will honestly say, oh, wait a minute. We got a little. It says Batman and Static Beyond. I think we didn't need the last issue. I think it should have ended on issue 5. 6 seemed very filler. Yeah. I kind of see that. And so let me talk about the good first. When it comes to this book. Static. Static is the centerpiece of this book. Like, if you really read this book from like issue number 5 to issue number 6, he's really is the centerpiece. You see his growth as a character from where we see him from from reading Milestone books, and also through Static season 1 and stuff like that, because we see him as a teenage kid, but see him as a whole grown ass man. You know what I'm saying? A whole grown man. And what he's able to do. That was refreshing to see, because I did cover issue number 1 of Batman Static Beyond in my videos. I did cover that. So that is what I like to see, right? Like, just to see this. Like, this man is out in space. Okay? He is in space. And to a point that he is alongside Superman and Icon. So that lets me know right offhand, he's like, I don't want to say like equal footing, but he's on that same level. He's on that same vein, that same floor space as Superman and Icon. And I love to see it, because you see what he's able to do throughout this book. And he said, I hope they do a Static spinoff from this and a Batman Beyond after this. Both deserve their own series. Yeah. I absolutely agree. Static, like, long overdue. Like, Static in itself is long overdue to have a mainline series, because remember, we got DC Black Label. This is DC Black Label. So, you know, when it comes down to these books, typically these books are like short-lived. And I know we got Immortal Batman, because I did start to talk about that DC Black Label as well. But when it comes to Static as a character, though, he needs his own solo series, right? In the mainline continuity. And I hope for us to get to this point of Static as well, because this Static is all gas, no brakes with it. But he's very matter of fact. He's very calculating. He is, I wouldn't say the mentor, but he's definitely the senior to Terry McGinnis. Like, Terry annoyed the piss out of me in this series. He really did. He annoyed the piss out of me. It's like Virgil told him to stay put, like to stay home. Don't get involved with this right now. I'll call you if I need you. Who pulls up? Terry pulls up. He's like, and then the minute, you know, Static got short circuited and he got shut down, because shut down is like the main villain. I put that in quotes because he's not really a villain, but he's, you know, somewhat of an antagonist, you know, of this whole entire story. But this is really a teaching moment. So to give you a preface on what the story is about, Virgil has this company, and Raquel, she's like the mayor of Dakota City, and Dakota City is this bustling city now, man, because the Q juice that was used to turn the people of Dakota into superpower beings and killed most, somehow, some way, they was able to reinvigorate Q juice and make it work for the city. And when I mean make it work for the city, I mean make it work for the city, because this is how Dakota City looks. You know what I'm saying? This is how this looks. And it's all because of Static and his team. It's all because of Static and Curtis Metcalf, the people, the people in the Milestone universe of Dakota. They helped shape Dakota City, and this is what this is. Like, this is a bustling city, to a point where Virgil wants to take that level of technology and the use of Q juice to fuel the city. He wants to take that and move it over to, expand. I say move, but expand to Neo Gotham, right? So when it comes down to Neo Gotham, there's some people that are for it, and there are some people that are protesting. Melvin is one of those kids that is protesting it, saying Q juice is, poison, and look what it did to Dakota, and why we're using this, and what would happen if the Q juice breaks and it poisons Gotham and it turns people superpower beings, which Melvin did have a point. Melvin did have a point when it came down to that. So Dan said Shutdown was an amazing villain in this, and his powers seemed very limitless. Yeah. I think he, as a character, he started out that way because he was very much pissed that he was made into a superpower being because he did not understand his abilities. It's just like, Marvel side when people gain their mutant abilities and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to control this. I'm scared. And that's what Melvin was. He was scared to a point where he did start to control his powers, but he still had to axe the grind with Static. He had to axe the grind with the people of Dakota. And he had to axe the grind with Q-Juice. He's like, Q-Juice created me. I'm not going to let anybody else get affected by this. So I'm looking to destroy or shut down the Q-Juice that's going to circulate throughout Gotham through that point. Now, where Terry comes in at, Terry knows Melvin pretty well. He knows Melvin pretty well. And he was the one who witnessed Melvin in that accident in issue number 1. So to see like Shutdown, like as a character, like this is his whole outfit, right? This is his whole outfit. And the man, Melvin was really looking for love, man. Like he went to his parents and he finds out that, his parents was working on the Q juice. They're one of the scientists that's working on it for Neo Gotham. So no, we don't hate you for doing it. You still our son. You still our kid at the end of the day. Like, just come home because you did get powers from the Q juice, right? From this accident. Yeah, but we can help you with that. And he's just misunderstood. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he's misunderstood to a point where like Static was the one who actually helped him. Like Virgil was the one who helped him. And Virgil, you can definitely tell that he was the leader throughout all this. He's the leader throughout all this. And I do like the fact that you saw little of Superman. You saw little of the new Justice League or whatever the case may be. You saw little of them, and it led more to Static and Terry. And I'm gonna say something that's very controversial. And if you really think about it, Terry wasn't really needed. Terry wasn't really needed. I could have done without Terry. I ain't gonna hold you. I could have done without Terry because I feel like it became less about him and really more about Static and because this really is about him because how Dakota City is prospering and he's trying to expand that over to Gotham and be just as prosperous as Dakota City. And because of that, it ended up hurting a kid and turning him into a superpower being, even though there's an academy in Dakota City that have superpower beings. I feel like Terry was just in the background, right? Right. I do dig his new outfit, dude. So I do dig his new bat costume because it was like less technology and stuff like that. So he's kind of like coming into his own and he's growing as a character because in the beginning, Terry was high-headed. He wasn't moving like Bruce Wayne. And I think he was focusing on moving like Bruce Wayne. But Static gave him this pep talk like, nah, you be Terry. Like, yes, you have the Batman mantle, but be your own man. That kind of thing. Like, quit trying to follow somebody else's shadow because if you're trying to be like Bruce Wayne, you're never going to be like Bruce Wayne. You're never going to be like Bruce Wayne Batman. Everybody's different. Hell, Dick Grayson, when he was Batman for a spell, he was not Bruce Wayne Batman. Everybody loved Dick Grayson. And I feel like, Dick Grayson should be Batman. at this point, but still yet. But yeah, Dan says, I wish this book and Immortal Legend Batman would be ongoing. Yeah, true that. And he said this was all about Static for sure. Yeah, it definitely was all about Static because Static went to Neo Gotham and there's a mutant part of the city, right? And Terry looks after these people, and it is just almost the same as Dakota City because Static's like, this reminds me of Dakota. This reminds me of Paris Island. This reminds me of like Blood Syndicate and everybody else. And there was one particular character that he controls electricity too. And he taught him how to use it. He said, listen, we have this very similar ability. So I'm going to show you this little trick. And, he shows it to him and it was a teachable moment there. So, but this is a different Virgil though. This is like a grown adult Virgil. This Virgil has kid. He has a kid. He is married. Like he's grown up. You know what I'm saying? Like he's grown up past a certain level. You know what I mean? And you're not going to hear him say like different little quips and stuff stuff that you typically will hear Static say in like season 1 of Static or Static Shock the series or his debut into comics. You're not going to get that same type of dialogue. Like that dialogue that you're going to get is, I'm a teacher, I'm a leader, you're going to do what I say, and you're going to move how we're going to move. That kind of thing. So that part I really did like. And also, I know this was done purposely because it's showcasing the level he's at with Superman and Icon. And I do like that fact. The fact that he's floating around in space with them. That he's not like this side character. And the fact that, it's Batman Static Beyond and he's not in the background. And I'm so glad that Evan Narcisse, Marcus, Draven Ivy, they did that. Because, to have Superman. And on top of that, obviously this is the future because Superman no longer has a cape. Icon no longer has a cape. So this is like a different universe, whatever the case may be. So I really did like that. And also, just to give you a little bit of backdrop as far as what's going on, because as Static was at his house, they talk about the Q juice. And it says, this is Darius Delaney of Extreme. Today, we remember the modern American tragedy known as the Big Bang. Why does that algorithm think I want to watch a documentary at dinner time? Because somebody was actually watching this. He's like, hold up, this is Darius' project. Been waiting for this. So can you leave it on? And he says, when anti-police brutality protesters were gassed with the experimental Q juice deterrent, many died immediately. Others, like Static, were transformed into Bang babies, being with impossible abilities. Heroes like Static fought to protect everyone, especially metahumans targeted by state-sanctioned prosecution. Now, chaos churned through the city streets, but Dakota did not crumble. Like from that standpoint, he said instead it began to build a daring new future by looking forward, by looking inward. So it's like, yeah. So if you go back to read the Dakota incident, and hold on, I'm going to read it said, this is an amazing Static. They made him very important and portraying him as on the same level as the top heroes in DC. Absolutely. So like with this book right here, if and you take this and you take the Dakota incident, what happened in the Dakota incident? Like why the milestone characters have not been seen for a number of years, and the amount of writers and artists that was on the Dakota incident to the point that it got a second printing, right? The deal when Lex Luthor was president, making a deal and shutting down any superheroism in Dakota, right? Which tells us the reason why the heroes of Dakota have not shown up in main continuity, which is a good way to actually put that in. And by the end of the book, you see Static, putting that shit on. You know what I mean? He putting that stuff on. He's like, I'm back to what I used to be, because Beacon, like his nephew, like came up and said, hey man, remember who you are, bro. Like, remember who you are. You're like, you are a beacon of Milestone. I mean, not Milestone. You are a beacon of Dakota. You're a beacon of Paris Island. Like, you are the leader in all this. And hopefully in mainline continuity, hopefully we will get a static series because that will sell like hotcakes. We would not have Miles Morales if we didn't have static. We wouldn't. We wouldn't. Honestly, I feel like it was a missed opportunity when it came down to Superman and Spider-Man crossover event. You could have had Miles Morales and static. You could have had that. You could have had that. I feel like you would have sold way more too. So way more if that was like your second story outside of the main book. That could have been your second story on both sides, on the DC side and on the Marvel side. But you know what? It was what it was. It was a missed opportunity. It was a fumble. It was a fumble. But yes, but the static series will sell like hotcakes. I'm telling you. Like if you put the level of marketing, like you did with Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Green Arrow. If you was doing that same level of marketing like you do with a DC KO event, that's a whole nother story. But now DC Next Level or DC Absolute era, like if you was doing that same level of marketing, we'd be all right. We will be all right. But still, that's what makes this work. That is what makes this work, man. This is what made this work. So, but yeah, I really did love this book. I really did love this book, but I feel like Terry wasn't really needed. I mean, you know what I mean? I feel like Terry wasn't really needed. And it was more static than it was Terry. I think it served a purpose too, as well. Like there was some amazing covers. There was some amazing covers for this book. And I'm so glad I was able to actually read it because I know a good bit of people that have read this book, Batman Static Beyond. And who knows? Maybe we get more black labels. But again, what I'm asking for is mainline continuity. I'm asking for we're asking for the main stories. And they say we know people are crazy for number ones and new heroes or reimagined heroes, a new take on them. Hey, man, listen. And he says hashtag bring back static DC. Look, that is straight up facts. Like if it's a number one or if it's like a reimagining, sales wise, that's going to be the highest number right there. That's going to be the highest number straight up. Like, because when you get number ones, you get like variant covers of number ones. You know what I'm saying? And because you highly advertise in that book, you might have less when it comes down to number two, unless it introduces a brand new character and people want to get on that. Especially for resellers, they be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna flip this and boom, boom, boom. I have issue number one of Absolute Batman, first printing, and a variant, if I'm not mistaken, and that's in my short box right here. I can't tell you how much that thing is right now. I think it's in the triple digits range, if I'm not mistaken. So, and I know it's gonna just go. I know it's gonna go up from there. And mind you, Absolute Green Arrow, like it's a limited series, so number one especially is going to shoot up to the roof as far as pricing is concerned, or whatever the case may be. Like, but people are crazy, like what Dan is saying. People are crazy for number ones, like stir crazy for number ones. But to keep that audience though, that story has to be equally as good. So yeah, by cover standards, they got that book, but they might not add it to their pull list for 2, 3, 4 unless the book is really, really good. Prime example, Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy is supposed to be a limited series. It's supposed to be limited. And I want to say Poison Ivy is in the 40 range when it comes to issues. Because why? The story is good and people are banging with Poison Ivy. Banging with it. And Dan says, this was my first take on Static, and I really enjoyed him as a hero and would read more. See? Right there. Got a brand new reader. Right off hand. See that Static? That's Static right there. Like sitting right here. That's Static right here. Standing up there. Now, I would say to encourage like reading Static, if you get the like the milestone compendiums, because compendium number 5 comes out in July, if I'm not mistaken. I got to put in my order actually. There's actually Static Season 1, so you can actually read that as well. Matter of fact, Static Shock, this series, is on Tubi now. So, you can actually watch Static Shock. Now, it's only called Static Shock on the cartoon series, but his actual name is Static. Because a lot of people say, hey, Static Shock. Because some people introduction to Static is through the Static Shock cartoon series. And they're like, well, he's a DC character. Yeah, but go read, like, Static. But either way it goes. But yeah, so we got a new reader that is for Static. You know what I'm saying? And there's other milestone characters out there. Icon is one of them. The guy that was flying around with Superman. Same level. So there we go with that. But we need that main run, because once Static picks up steam and once Static, everybody picks up that Static #1 because this is an ongoing or whatever the case may be, then you can bring in Rocket. You can bring in Icon. You can bring in the Blood Syndicate, because the Blood Syndicate is probably going to sell too. Hardware is what I'm rating on. You know what I'm saying? I need that hardware. You know what I mean? I need that hardware. So Static and hardware, and you going from there. And then the Shadow Cabinet, because I've read the Shadow Cabinet. Shout out to Joseph Village. So yeah, man. Book, very good book though. Very good book. I feel like Terry wasn't needed. This could have been easily a Static book, and just keep it moving. Now in the gaming space, I'm glad you guys was able to hang out with your boy. Now I know we covered a good bit today. In the gaming space, there's a new game that's coming out. I want to say March 19th. Some people already got early access to this, and that's Forza Horizon 6. And a lot of people saying this is the best racing game ever. Like, period. Like, past Gran Turismo and any other racing game you ever played that's on a simulation style, arcade-ish style. Best. That's what it's saying. They got a perfect 10 on IGN. I think it got a 10 on Metacritic. And just to put it in perspective for what's like, Gundam's in it. Like, what the yes, Gundams are in Forza Horizon 6, man. You out here racing Gundams. So mind you, this is in Japan. Like, Forza Horizon 6 is set in Japan. There's Mount Akina, which is the setting for Initial D. Now, if you haven't seen Initial D, you got to go out here and watch Initial D. Initial D is really, really good. So the tofu restaurant, the tofu restaurant, you can actually go over there. Obviously, you're going to get that AE86. Now, I'm going to have that. I'm going to have the AE86 in my garage. But I went ahead and pre-ordered it. Can't wait to play it. It's on Steam. It's on Xbox. It's going to come out for PlayStation like later on in the year. But I'm already going to be locked in by that time. I'm already going to be locked in by that time. You know what I'm saying? I told my cousin about it. He said, man, I'm a cop. That's a must cop. He can't get it because he got PlayStation 5. Because he don't have a gaming laptop. He don't have an Xbox. So the Xbox Steam players is eating. That's all I'm knowing. And shout out. And let me preface this. I do have a PlayStation 5. I do have a game laptop, which I stream on right here. So that's not lost on me, right? But Asha is doing some things over there in Xbox. She's killing the game out here in Xbox. And she's making some changes for the better. And I applaud her, man. I really do applaud her. I really, really do applaud her on what she got going on. But yeah, Forza Horizon 6 is out there, man, and I think it's gonna be crazy. There's another racing game that I really want to get, and it's called Screamer. It's like it is definitely an arcade racer, and it's an anime style. It's like anime style cutscenes and stuff like that, and I'm very much interested in that. So whenever it goes on sale again, I'm going to go check that out. And Dan says Lego Batman getting crazier and crazier too with all the Easter eggs and it has in it as well. You know what? That's a game I have not played, and I feel like I need to. I'm a Batman fan, but I need to play some Lego Batman. I feel like I need to play that, and I feel like I would have a lot of fun playing. I would have a lot of fun playing that game, man. Don't judge me. Because I got Lego Star Wars. I have Lego Star Wars and on my Switch. And I really do have a lot of fun playing that game, playing Lego Star Wars. So, and I think the Lego Star Wars game got like the whole thing on there. So really dope game to play. And Lego Batman, I really do want to play that. That might be one of those games I play. I wonder if it's on a Nintendo Switch. You know what? Let's not live in ignorance. Let's look it up real quick. Lego Batman. Legacy of the Dark Knight. Let's see here. So, okay, it's on PlayStation. It's on, wait. Dan says he do a Batman podcast every Friday night. We cover all things Batman. Ew, I'm gonna go check out your channel, man. I'm gonna go check out your channel. Let's check the wiki here. Okay. It says it is on the Switch, but it's not on the regular Switch. It is on the Switch 2. It's on the Switch 2. It says PlayStation 5, Windows, Xbox Series X, and Nintendo Switch 2. They are pushing, man. They are pushing for this Nintendo Switch 2. And didn't they increase the price of that? Ain't they planning on increasing the price of the Switch 2? I don't think that's a good idea, though. I really don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea because, okay. So before we get out of here, I gotta tell you. So you have the Switch 2, right? You got your Steam Deck, right? You got your ROG Ally X, right? That people play, right? Which is basically a handheld PC, right? You have the Steam machine that's coming out pretty soon. I don't think Switch 2 need to be increasing the price of the Switch 2, especially if the majority of the games that we do have are on the Switch and Switch 2. So why would I go out and purchase a Switch 2 if the games is already on the Switch? It's only a handful of games that, that's on the Switch 2 only, like Virtua Fighter, like the new Virtua Fighter that is on there, right? Well, I say the new Virtua Fighter, but the World Tour mode and stuff like that. So that's on there. Lego Batman, that's on there, right? The new Mario Kart, that's on there, right? There's not a new Zelda game. There's not a new Mario game other than outside of Mario Kart. Look, Switch 2 have to show me some more in order for me to say, hey, you know what? I really want to Switch 2. Also, the Nintendo Switch is very sacred to me because my fiance bought me my Nintendo Switch for Christmas some years ago. So it holds a special place. So I don't think I'm going to replace it with a Switch 2. I don't want to do that because, to be honest with you, I mostly use my Nintendo Switch for RPGs. Right? I got Dragon Quest 3. I have Dragon Quest 3, and I have the Grandia 1 and 2. I have I have a few other RPGs. The name escapes me right now, but it's mostly RPGs that I have on my Nintendo Switch, right? And I can just play those in succession and just keep on booking with it. So that's all I use my Nintendo Switch for. RPGs. That's it. RPGs. Oh, I do have Street Fighter. I gotta have that. Street Fighter, Capcom Fighting Collection. I gotta have that. But either way, I can't wait for Forza Horizon 6 to actually come out. Cannot wait for that. And yeah, so that is our show. Yo, so we got I'm actually thinking about getting a Switch for Star Fox. See? Yeah, so Star Fox. Whoo. So Star Fox. I have a legit question. Why don't we have a brand new Star Fox game? Why we don't have a brand new one? Not a remake. Why don't we have a brand new Star Fox game? Why we keep reheating this food right here? Why we doing that? Why we doing that? That's what I'm focused on. Now, don't get me wrong. Star Fox looks dope. The remake looks dope. But still though, why we can't get a brand new Star Fox game, man? Why can't we get that? What is going on? Man, I don't know, man. I feel like low key Nintendo was nickel and diming us. That's a high key because, hey, you rarely get sales on that Switch store. I ain't gonna hold you. You rarely get it. You rarely get it. But when you get it, you better get the gettings while the getting's good. You know what I'm saying? And it's the perfect rail shooter. Why change? So here's what I say about this. You need change, right? Like, you got, okay, Star Fox 64. And I want to say they got remade. Then you remake it again for the Switch too. So you, outside of new modes, you kind of playing the same story. You know what I mean? When it comes down to remakes. And especially, you have seen several new, like, Mario games, right? Damn, it took us this long to get a new Mario Kart. Because the Mario Kart that was on Nintendo Switch, well, actually wasn't a Switch game. I think it was Wii U. I think it was Wii U, right? I think it was the Wii U. They just moved it over to Switch, and I think that's what the best-selling Switch game is, Mario Kart. Mario Kart. Now that's one example, but that don't translate to like everything. But when it comes to a Mario game, though, there's been different versions. There's been newer versions of those games, right? Like a whole different story and stuff. So you could easily have a brand new Star Fox game, new story, new everything. And I feel like that would have grabbed people a lot more versus it saying, hey, this is a reimagining, this is a remake or whatever the case may be. So, but I tell you what game I would love to see a remake of is Legend of Zelda Link to the Past. That's what I love to see. And Ocarina of Time. If you give me look, to put it to you like this. If you give me a remake of those, updated graphics and all that, I might get a Switch too. If you give me Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time. If you hook me up with that. You know what I'm saying? But you know what game, but outside of those though, you know what game that I really, really want to see as a remake is, like, I don't know if it's an HD 2D remake, maybe an HD 2D remake, anime cutscenes, the whole enchilada, Chrono Trigger. I want to see Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger should be remade. Chrono Trigger should be out here for the masses to see. Because I don't think people, especially in like our current timeline, because this like Chrono Trigger came out for SNES. And Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI, Secret of Mana, those. Okay. Hold on. Let me back it up. 16-bit era, the best RPGs. Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana, Phantasy Star 4 for the Sega Genesis. Those were your best RPGs in the 16-bit era. And mind you, I feel like some of those RPGs transcend RPGs of this current timeline, because I feel like some people like get like so encompassed with the CGI movie part of it or the graphical part of it. But if you really look at Final Fantasy VI, I feel like Final Fantasy VI is the best Final Fantasy game, like, period. Because, and that in itself should have gotten like a remake. I know they did like Final Fantasy anthologies and stuff like that. I know they did that. But I feel like, yeah, Final Fantasy VI, man, because like where else would you have that many playable characters? And each of those characters have their own particular moveset. And each of those characters have their own story. Now, Descendo is absolutely correct. Expedition 33, chef kiss right there. Expedition 33 takes you back to a time where you played Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation 1. That's where it takes you. And where I really caught that vibe at is where I went on side quests to fight other bosses that was essentially stronger than the final boss. And I beat those. And when I came down to fighting the final boss, it was like cakewalk for me, because very similar to how Cloud, Tifa, Barrett, Sid, Vincent, Kate Sith and Red 13, like all these characters, Ares, fought the Emerald and Ruby weapon. Like, you could easily skip across them and go straight to Sephiroth at that point. But no, you want to fight the weapons. You want to take them out first. And, because if you could take them out, you could take Sephiroth out. But yeah, so back to that. So yeah, so I do feel like Final Fantasy VI is like the best Final Fantasy, like it's straight up. But Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI are interchangeable when it comes down to, for me, like the top like RPGs of all time, because Chrono Trigger was like one of the first, if not the first, like RPG that gave you multiple endings depending on your choices, depending on the choice that you made throughout the game, or how you was able to do certain things, right? And then Final Fantasy VI, you had multiple playable characters that had their own stories and own movesets. So, and on top of that, the bad guy won. Like, it was nothing you could do. Like, there was nothing you could do. Like, it was something that you did not see. Like, you never saw that in a game. And then, because the whole goal of RPG is like, you got a conflict, you got a party, you go through a little bit of strife or whatever, but ultimately you win. Like, first meeting that final boss, you beat him. Nah. Final Fantasy VI wasn't like that. They took your cookies. They took your cookies. So I would love to see like a reimagining, a remake of Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI. And I know, obviously, Secret of Mana, they did like there was another Mana game, and it was kind of like in the same vein. So I'm less liking for that. Phantasy Star 4 though, yeah, I did like the anime still shots. I really did like that. So I do have that on my Sega Genesis. And Ducendo said, I think a fan-made remake of Chrono is in the works. Oh, okay, I'm cool with that. Oh, Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars is very similar to Chrono Trigger. It's not Chrono Trigger, but the vibes of it is like Chrono Trigger, if that makes sense. So, but either way, man, super enjoyable show today, man, for Saturday Morning Comics, man. I hope you guys go out there and read some of these books that are advertised for you guys. And hey, DMV CBN, what's happening, brother? It says, good morning, everyone. I'm late, but I'll go back and listen to the Batman State of Beyond discussion. Awesome, man. I appreciate you, man. So the books that I did cover, though, Indie Comic of the Week, Defiant, go ahead and check that out. That is also part of Stranger Comics. If you want to support Stranger Comics, go to strangercomics.com. Strangercomics.com. Go ahead and check that out. Go ahead and pre-order. Put it on your pull list. Gambit, Most Wanted, written by Chris Claremont, the legend. Written by Chris Claremont, that comes out in July. Go ahead and check that out. And if you haven't already, go ahead and put it on your pull list. Absolute Green Arrow, because it's already on its second printing, and the damn thing is not even out yet. It's not even out yet. So I already know that thing is gonna sell. It's gonna sell like hotcakes. It's crazy work. So glad you guys was able to hang out with your boy. We had a good time, man. Again, just to let you guys know, do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button, notification bell. Make sure you select all, that way you get notified on all of our content, live or recorded. Also, the Saturday Morning Comments for next Saturday will be a premiere. So it won't be a live, but it will be a premiere. Same time, 10 a.m. Eastern time. All right? Going to be out of town this weekend, but you're still going to get that Saturday Morning Comments goodness, though. You're still going to get that. So don't even worry about it. You good. We still good. And be on the lookout for our videos next week as well. Be sure to check out the video I did this week on comic book piracy. So check that out as well, man. So hope you guys have a awesome Saturday, man. Go out here and get some living in. Do what you do. Get you some good food. Get you some good eats, because I'm about to go downstairs and catch up on some comic books, catch up on some Thundercats. Ho!